Today on CityCast Philly, it's the Tuesday News Roundup. We're talking about updates on last week's bus stop shooting in the Northeast. And more speed cameras are coming. The city wants your input. Plus, Philly trivia questions about Women's History Month. It's Tuesday, March 12th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me is CityCast Philly executive producer Laura Benchoff. Hey, Laura.
Hey, good morning, Trenae.
Good morning. And our Hey Philly newsletter editor, Asha Prahar. Hey, Asha.
Hello.
Laura, there's been more updates in last week's bus stop shooting in Northeast that really shook many of us. Can you tell us what we now know?
Yeah, so yesterday afternoon, there were some big updates in the investigation into what was just one of 4 shootings that took place over the course of 4 days last week on or near SEPTA property. We're specifically talking about the shooting last Wednesday in which 8 teens were struck by gunfire while waiting for a SEPTA bus. This was at Rising Sun and Cotman Ave around 3 p.m. So, they were going home from school. So yesterday, police, the mayor, and many other authorities held a press conference to announce that they'd arrested 2 suspects in the shooting. They named them as 18-year-olds Jamal Tucker and Anil Buggs. Those 2 suspects are now in custody. Officials also said they'd recovered a weapon used in the shooting, which they described as having a large magazine and a switch or a device that makes a handgun basically fire like an automatic weapon. So this obviously got a lot of attention, and police have been circulating this video of the suspects. So we know, 2 people are in custody, but they're seeking 2 more. So in the video of this shooting, you see a blue Hyundai pull up, and there's 4 people involved. There's a driver and 3 people who they're considering suspects involved with the shooting. So police said, yes, we've researched. We found 2 of them. We believe we know who the other 2 people involved are. We're still seeking them, and we're not really ready to share more information about that. But that was really the big update that we had on Monday into what was just a really awful, awful incident last week.
And I know also that authorities said, if you know anything, say something. Mm-hmm. It's better to come forward now. Laura, any updates on the victims? Again, who are children?
Yes, so that was a question that came up at the press conference. All of the victims, as you said, were between the ages of 15 and 17 years old. So they're all minors. Mm-hmm. What authorities said as of yesterday is that all but one were in stable condition. There was one 16-year-old who was shot 9 times, who had been the most injured from the shooting. But police said yesterday, or authorities said yesterday, that they believed his status had been upgraded, so he's improving, and that he's talking again, and that they hope to interview him. So thankfully, no one was killed in this shooting. But 9 times, that's really traumatic. This was a lot of bullets fired. Mm-hmm. And I know some of the other victims are still injured. And bottom line, just kind of like you said, Trenae, this really shook up a lot of people. The mayor came out at this press conference and acknowledged she's having conversations with the school district, with the victims' parents, who are all expressing concerns they have about their kids going to school, feeling safe at home, feeling safe, as they commute on SEPTA or they commute in public spaces with so many shootings happening like this. There was a message of we're working together. We are engaging all stakeholders. We are engaging all partners. Mayor Parker mentioned that she will have a public safety plan coming out the first week in April. She plans to talk more about public safety then. But in the meantime, the investigation's ongoing and everyone's still trying to figure out what happened here. And I should also note that Northeast High, where all these victims were students, they're still dealing with this as well. One of the updates this week was that not all the students are back in class yet. So Northeast brought back juniors and seniors on Monday. Freshmen and sophomores were still learning virtually, and they're kind of planning to swap that today to kind of ease students back into the school after this really traumatic incident.
For sure. We'll have links to these stories in our show notes. More news after the break. This is CityCast Philly. All right, for the next story, I want to talk about an update to an episode we actually did back in January with WHYY's Planned Philly reporter, Aaron Moselle, regarding speed cameras. So late last year, state lawmakers approved a bill to expand the program that placed speed cameras along Roosevelt Boulevard. Many drivers know about this because sometimes you get caught up. And, Roosevelt now has like certain sections where, the speed limit is limited to 40 miles per hour. Some places you can go a little bit above, you can go to 45. But they're expanding this program to include 5 streets or roadways in the city that will soon have speed cameras. So Governor Josh Shapiro signed this into law, and NBC Philadelphia reports that the Philadelphia Parking Authority will actually run this program. They're going to take photos of a vehicle's license plate and a short video of the vehicle if it goes over 11 miles per hour over the speed limit. So be careful out there. So now City Council is asking for the public's input on which roads should have speed cameras. You can fill out the Safe Street Philly survey, and we have a link in our show notes. So my question for you, Laura and Asha, where would y'all like to see speed cameras?
I think for me, the road where I'd really like to see some speed cameras is Girard Avenue. In general, I think it would be great to see more enforcement of speed limits on these sort of wider arterial urban streets where you're going to have both people walking and people driving in their vehicles. But I feel like when people see a wide street, there can be this temptation to go fast,
Mm-hmm.
And on Girard Avenue in particular, there's the added element of these like Route 15 trolley platforms that are kind of just sort of these islands basically in the middle of the road. And I know like I've used that route before and I felt pretty stressed out like standing on those platforms and just like feeling all the people like going fast around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is an example of a road where I think speed cameras could definitely be welcome there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like we have to also mention cyclists and how dangerous it can be for them. Someone I used to work with, he actually got killed on Girard and Ridge Avenue.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we talk about drivers, we talk about pedestrians, but we have to also shout out the cyclists in the city and how dangerous it can be for them when cars are speeding.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm going to choose Lincoln Drive. This is the most craziest, like one of the most craziest roadways in Philly. For me, it gives me anxiety sometimes because there's 3 ways to drive on this. You literally have to transform into a professional NASCAR driver to just keep up with the fast cars, even though it's 25 miles per hour. I get nervous. People get nervous and they go into panic mode. So then they drive slower just to survive.
Mm-hmm. That's me.
And, you just got to pray that sometimes that there's traffic. I actually like when there's traffic on Lincoln Drive because it forces everyone to slow down.
Yeah, I agree with you, Trina. The first place I thought of was like Lincoln Drive, Kelly Drive, because I was on Kelly recently. And yeah, they have new speed limit signs everywhere saying go 25 miles an hour. No one was going 25 miles an hour. And there's like those kind of like, I don't know if they're potholes or if they're like storm grates.
Mm-hmm.
Like in one of the right lanes, you're just like surfing, like going up and down, hitting these sort of big divots in the pavement while going really fast. The other cars are very close to you. It's just not a good time.
All right. Well, we shall see. Again, if you're a listener and you have thoughts on where the city should put these new cameras, you can fill out the Safe Street Philly survey. We have a link in our show notes. All right, Asha, it's your turn. Let's play some Philly trivia.
Yeah. So I'm back this week with some more Women's History Month trivia. But before I launch into my question, I have to ask you two, have either of you been to the state capitol building in Harrisburg?
No, I have not.
I do not believe so, no.
Okay, so if you're ever over that way, I'd totally recommend taking a tour. It's super beautiful and ornate, and the building has this huge number of these intricate murals that were mostly painted in the early 20th century, which leads into what I'm going to ask you about.
Okay.
So there was a Philadelphian who did a lot of those paintings. Her name was Violet Oakley. She was tapped to create some murals for the state capitol building and was actually the first woman in the US to ever receive a mural commission for a state capitol building. And then the more that the sort of team organizing this saw of her work, the more they liked. So she ended up spending 25 years working on painting these huge murals for the Capitol building. Whoa. So my question for you is, in those 25 years, do you have a guess as to how many murals she was able to create for the Capitol in that time?
Think about how big are these murals? Any other hints you can give us there?
They're big.
They're big. Okay, so they would have taken a long time.
They would have, yeah.
Maybe a single one would have maybe taken a long time. I'm gonna guess 6.
Not even close.
Okay.
Like, they were big, but like
higher or lower?
It's higher. It's higher.
I'm going to say 75.
Okay, that's too high.
Okay, so that's a little outrageous. Okay, got it.
The answer is between those two numbers, but do you guys want me to tell you?
No, let me guess one more time.
Okay.
I'm going to go with lucky number 24.
Good guess.
That's a nice number, but it is not the right number.
Is it 32?
No.
Okay.
You're getting closer, though.
52.
Too high.
In the 40s somewhere?
It's in the 40s, yeah.
Okay.
47?
No.
All right, lay it on us, Sasha.
Okay. She painted 43 murals for the state capitol building.
That was my next number.
In 25 years. She was actually the most prolific artist who worked on the art in the Capitol, and she was also the only woman. Another notable thing about Violet Oakley, beyond her 43 murals for the Capitol, is that she was actually really involved with the art scene here in Philadelphia. She was one of the early members of a local group called the Plastic Club, which was a space for women artists that was founded in the 1890s since they weren't allowed to join men's art clubs. It still exists today, but now it's open to all genders. And you can learn more about that group on the CityCast Philly website. And make sure you subscribe to the Hey Philly newsletter for even more women's history segments this month.
43 murals. Wow, what an accomplishment.
Yeah, it really was, especially at the time in the early 20th century when women just weren't getting these opportunities.
I really want to go see pictures of her work now. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right, that's Asha Prihar, Hey Philly newsletter editor, and Laura Benshoff, CityCast Philly executive producer. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, thanks, Trinae.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have links to the stories we mentioned in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.